Hello, and welcome to Ongoing Mastery Presenting and Speaking, Season 2. We're
Woo!
back.
Yay!
I'm Kirsten Rourke,
I'm Kelly Donovan Condren.
and we are your hosts for the adventure that you will be going on today. There will be shuffleboard on the Lido deck later. Please bring drinks. Season 2. So, what is not obvious to the folks who are coming to us from Apple and Spotify is that we are now doing video and we're recording through Riverside to create the podcast so that we have a YouTube channel and we also have our audio podcast. So, we're trying the
I
new
can
thing.
see you.
I can see you, and it's like, hi, I know you. So,
Hey!
this will be fun. This season, we're going to be doing some new things, and much thanks to Content 10x and Amy, who met with us and gave us some guidance on ways we could repurpose our content. Yeah, she gave us a whole bunch of things that we could think about, which was fantastic. And we're now adding some video. We'll be adding in some coaching sessions and other things. But of course, still doing interviews and still doing talking about the craft of presenting and speaking between you and I and different ways in which people can enhance their ongoing mastery journey. So,
Yeah.
Kelly, what is on your plate that you've been working on for ongoing mastery in the last month or so?
Well, I started reading How to Tell a Story 2022 book from the Moth Radio Hour team. And we had seen a production of The Moth back in the spring. And it was really exciting and engaging and fun. And we both got this book as a gift when we came through the door. And I knew when I started it, it was going to be really absorbing. So I had put off starting it until I had kind of the clear space, which I had this weekend. And I was right. I'll be reading the rest of it probably today. It's really a close look at the craft of storytelling, which you
Mhm.
would expect from the Moth. But so far, even just the foreword and the introduction, I really like the way they're emphasizing connection and the way in which they say, you, the person reading this book, you have a story. Your story is important. No one else can tell your story, but you have to do the work to tell it. And
Mhm.
I'm really appreciating that aspect of the craft of producing a story. I think about that a lot with the work that you and I are doing, we do
Yep.
with clients, that I do with my college students, right? We're starting the research essay cycle. And even though they have to research a question, that question is going to come from a community that they are currently involved with, something that's actually meaningful to them, not an abstract thing out there in the world that they just decided to write about. And so there's going to be that element of story, right? From story comes inquiry and curiosity and connection. So I'm really excited about that.
Excellent.
Um, and as you know, I took, yeah. Uh, as you know, I took Erica Holthausen's
Yes.
Catchline
Erica,
Communications
we
workshop.
love you. Yes.
Erica, on writing for high visibility publications. And that was a terrific experience for me because I've been writing now for a couple decades, and mostly in an academic context of my scholarly research. And I'm shifting some of my focus now to be thinking about speaking, about presenting, about more public facing kinds of writing and communication. And I had to be humble as I started Erica's workshop. I could have just said, "Oh, I already know how to write. Just give me the secret and I'll be done." And that is not how that works. And it doesn't matter that I know how to write for certain contexts because this is a new context. And maybe I'm not starting exactly at zero, but I'm definitely starting at square one. Uh, and so for my own ongoing mastery and applying the skills that I know I have, but need to use differently and put some to the back and bring some others to the fore. Erica's workshop was really great to remind me of that and also get me started in doing that.
Yeah, it's the thing I'm impressed with is that you're you're able to set aside. I mean, you've been writing, and you know, this is what you do for a living. You're a professor of this, and that you can set that aside and come to it as a new person and come to it fresh. That is so hard to do, and it's
I didn't
crucial.
say
It's
it was
really,
easy.
yeah, yeah. But you
My
managed to
editor
do it
voice was
without,
telling
like, your inner editor was critiquing maybe a little
my
bit.
inner editor stayed inner, so that was good.
Yeah, that's usually my issue, is keeping my internal voice internal. You have less of that problem. Yeah, I learned that lesson when I was still in the dance troupe and was doing an event. It was a seminar in New Hampshire, I think, and I was standing next to my dance teacher and with the troupe and looking at someone who, you know, was a very experienced dancer, had been in the field forever, was doing something that seemed really simple, and I made this snarky comment because I was all full of myself, to Nancy, and said, "Oh, well, this looks so basic." And she turned to me. She was having none of my garbage that day, none of it, and said, "Excuse me, if you can't get out of your own way and learn what she's offering, you have no business being in this room." And I was like, "Oh, okay." I got serious voice. Okay. And had to go and, just reorient my head and deal with the cranial, rectal, and social problem, and going, okay, be present. And once I was present, and once I was really not doing the, "Oh, but that's so easy," I realized she was offering something that was far beyond what I had been doing. So while I could do the steps in the right order and, weight shift or lift my arm, she was actually doing very finite degrees of change to express something
Yeah.
different. And it was subtle, it was elegant, and it was hard. So once I started trying to do it, it's like, oh, you have to really relax and shift. And oh, I see. And it took, it really, I had to get out of my own way. I'm working on doing that with my work right now, because I've been speaking for a long time, speaking 20 years,
Yeah.
but I took on a speaking coach once I decided to branch into new areas this year, and it's been really helpful. I work with Tim David, who is a fantastic speech coach, and he has been really helpful in helping me organize my content and kind of look at how I'm saying things, the way I'm structuring it, what is it that
Hmm.
you're actually asking of your audience, and when. And
Yep.
it's been really educational. I'm looking forward to adding that in for our listeners, and
Hmm.
having not only storytellers this season, but I'd really like to bring in a comedian, ideally
Yeah.
somebody who does either stand up or improv. I think that would be great. So I know we
So,
have some voiceover people on the
mhm.
hook. We have some other people coming in, so it'll be really good.
So you know that my alternate career fantasy, if the grad school thing didn't work out, was stand-up
Yep.
comedian, right? Except I can't get through my own material without laughing, so it's not a really viable option, but it's still kind of
Yeah, that
there.
that is not, yeah, when you're halfway through the joke going, "You're gonna love this." Yeah, that
Yeah.
quite doesn't quite work.
No, not really.
So what I've been doing for my own ongoing mastery is, um, working on. There's a master class with Neil Gaiman about storytelling, and I've gotten halfway through it,
Oh,
and then I
so good.
stopped because he had made a point that I wanted to sit with, and I wanted it to resonate, in my work, and kind of think about it and go, all right, how can I layer this into what we're doing, not only on the podcast, but with our clients and with the work, like, we're both part of Innovation Women, a speaker group, and there's
Speaker
people,
friends.
speaker friends, and there's people in that group that, I'm doing support work with, they're doing support work with me, and I want to be able to offer this as in all of the ways in which we're kind of putting ourselves out in the world. And so I'm trying to layer it in, the parfait thing of have nobody didn't like a little parfait. Just layer it in and have it be, wonderfully tasty, because there's so much that you can do that is beyond just the reading a slide deck at people.
So
Please
boring.
don't do that. Please,
Yeah.
if you're listening, if you're watching, please, no, just don't. That's exactly the opposite of what you want from your audience. Is you that if you want to turn off engagement and turn off connection, that's how to do it. But it's
Hmm.
hard to go past that
Yeah.
because we don't always know what to do. And it's interesting because I'm trying to think of different ways to show people that you don't have to have a theater background like me or a really, deep, intense, full, I can analyze stories to the point where they give you meaning that you had no concept of, like Kelly, to be able to do this work. That's just
Hmm.
that's where we are. But anybody can improve in their presenting and speaking because ongoing mastery is something everybody's doing, even the folks who are really, really, masterful at it, making a living at it full time out there. I mean, even 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 our amazing and wonderful folks in Innovation Women who are kicking ass and taking names like Precious.
Yeah. Oh,
Um,
exactly.
Precious is amazing. Pegeen is amazing. These are people who are just out there. Just you look at them and go, wow, look at that. Look at what you're doing in the world. So everybody has an ongoing mastery journey.
And that's
I
just it, right? Ongoing mastery. When you've really truly mastered your content, it looks simple, it looks effortless, but it isn't, right? That
Yeah,
delivery is the end of all of the work. But that doesn't mean the work isn't there. It just means you're not seeing it.
yep. And just like my speech coach tells me, you're never done working on your keynote. At the
Yep.
point that you're done working on your keynote, then it's dead. You've killed it. You're never finished. And I learned that back in the troop with a dance because we had a man who was working with us, Tony, who is an engineer by day and was a Middle Eastern dancer by night. And he is magnificent. He does Egyptian folk dance beautifully and was working on this one stick dance and he'd gotten some work with an Egyptian choreographer and really been refining the craft and getting it. And he'd been working on this dance and he'd performed this dance so many times. We were in a show, I don't even remember where, and he went out and did it. He came off, and we're like, "Oh, that was amazing! That was fantastic! Good job!" And he said, "Yeah, I think I'm going to retire that." And we all went, "No, you
But
just finally got it! Like, no, you just reached a different plateau. You can't stop." And he was looking at us like, "What?" Because he'd reached this new tier. And
mm,
it was because he'd always been able to do the moves, but there was something in the way he was delivering it that was just absolutely chef's kiss perfection. And we were like, that right there, do more of that. And he kind of was a little like, I wanted to stop doing this dance. No, no, dude, you can't. Sorry. Um, so poor Tony. But yeah, we had some adventures in our 25 years together.
that's
we
awesome.
we had some adventures. We danced at bus stops. We danced at the Guard. We were everywhere. It was ridiculous. But I learned a lot from that experience that I bring into what we're doing, and it's really nice to kind of be able to approach some of the work I'm doing now and go, "Oh wow, there's so much to learn. There's so much to
Yeah.
grow into." And have that not be, "Oh, I'm awful because I'm new." Instead, it's, "Oh, this is
Right.
wonderful." So,
And I appreciate about your dance experience that bodied connection,
mm,
right? That public speaking, presenting isn't just about the words coming out
nope,
of your mouth, but if you're not connected to your body as you do it, it is a different thing.
it's a
So I
physical art.
really love that. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
it's a
love that
physical and
aspect.
verbal art. Yeah. I the thing I'm working on now with Tim is the little 10-minute bit that I'm doing for my TEDx recording coming up. And I have very specific movements that I'm doing during it. And I have been overthinking it to the point of insanity, of just, if my hands are here, what if I tilt them this way? And I'm like going completely off my nut about this. So I'm going to be grateful that it's a week and a half now until the recording, and I'm going to be so
Yay.
grateful when it's done, because then I can stop dreaming it and waking up in the middle of the night and find that I'm doing it in my sleep. It's been a little crazy. David is actually laughing because he'll come into the bedroom and I'm just laying there with like earbuds on listening to a book, but my hands are doing this thing and my shoulders are doing this thing, and he knows that I'm actually doing my speech in my head. And he's just like, "Yep, that's my wife."
Yep.
So don't
That's
worry
awesome.
though. If you are listening, if you are watching, we don't expect you to be like this. It's okay. You will not end up like this. Ongoing mastery is your own personal journey. You do not actually have to go to Crazy Town. But if you do, the drinks are fantastic. Just
Oh,
saying.
they're very tasty.
Yes. And on that note, I think we're good. I
I
think
think that's a good place.
I think this is an introduction to what people will get in season 2, and we will have you guys join us. I'm working on that. Have everyone join us, trying to take the guys out of my language. I'm listening to Kelly working on removing some of the gender out of my language. So have all y'all.
All
Yeah,
y'all.
no, I'm from Connecticut. That's not going to work. Have
I'm from
everyone
Boston.
come join us. And please come to LinkedIn, the Ongoing Mastery community. Find us on all the socials and let us know what it is that you want to hear, the people that you want to see, because we're going to be booking more interviews and creating more content. And it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So
Looking forward to it.
we'll see you next time.
Cheers.